Thank you for joining us today. And we're going to proceed with some discussions. Discussions is important because they affect our lives. So I'd like to call upon the president of ICS, Integrated Consulting Services, Anastasios Moussas. A big round of applause. Welcome. I think we might need a second mic, but it's on the way. And for you who don't know me, as my friend mentioned, the second mic is coming. Let's have a seat right here. I'm a lawyer by trade and a radio host as well. So what I do best is ask questions. So now I have a new victim to ask questions about issues that affect all Greeks of the diaspora. So Anastasia, let's learn a little bit about you. I know you're the managing director and the president of ICS. It's a consulting firm that you guys specialize in business and legal consulting in Greece and translation services. But why don't you tell us a little bit more, what is ICS all about?
Sure, it will be my pleasure. Before, I would like to thank very much Imperia for putting together this wonderful, this great event. And all the volunteers and all the ventures and all those that have contributed to this day. And we're very happy and thankful for being able to support this event as title sponsors. And I would like to thank you, Dora, for being here doing this. ICS, for the past 17, 18 years, actually, has been providing services to those Greeks, Greek Canadians, but not only Greeks, those that have affairs in Greece pertaining to their estate and their property. So we assist them by preparing all the documents that are required, notarial documents, powers of attorney, translating documents, but also we advise them as to the processes and what needs to take place to deal through the bureaucracy, to settle, to legalize their estates, to accept inheritance, to transfer, to buy, to sell, to file their tax declarations, to register the properties before the cadastral register, opening accounts, dealing with their pensions, and even assisting them with registering the acts of civil status and their births in Greece.
And I just want to stay on this point. A lot of Greek Canadians, if you can just give me your time, they experience difficulties when it comes to dealing with the Greek government or dealing with their affairs, whether that's about inheritance or dealing with the properties. So in your experience, what are the biggest challenges that we see?
So we are cleared. We are a privately owned and operated business, a consulting firm. We're not the government, and we need we need assistance dealing with our citizenship and all other affairs in Greece. We contact our consulates, and we seek assistance. But when it comes to deal with private matters, matters of estate, of property, taxation, the consulate is not there for that reason. So you have to seek the assistance of lawyers, of notaries, of accountants in Greece. We live here, so when we go in the summer to vacation and we try to deal with those affairs, it's extremely difficult. There is a language barrier, there is a cultural differences in the way that we've been accustomed of dealing with affairs of ours here. And when we go to Greece, everything is a mountain. Even the small becomes big. And then we rely on our friends and relatives, and they might have the best of intentions, but then it's not their job. So they will refer us to local professionals, people that are in Greece, lawyers or notaries, accountants. And they're good professionals and they know their stuff. However, there is a difference between us and them. Us meaning people that permanently reside here, that might have or not the Greek citizenship, and and they do not have a tax identification number. They don't have all the information. Them, meaning people that live in Greece, that have an taftotita, they have an αφημία, αριθμό φορολογικού μητρώου, tax identification number, that are registered in Greece and they are in a municipality. So when they give them the list and say, bring us these documents, they're not Chinese because we cannot read them. Of course we can read what they're asking, but what they're asking we don't have. So before dealing with a property, we have to do all the things that for 20, 30, or 40 years have not been done. Why? Because our parents, our grandparents that immigrated to Canada so long ago did not know that they had to register their marriage, did not know that they had to get a tax identification number, did not know that although they live here, if they have properties or income in Greece, they need to file their taxes. So it becomes difficult. That's where we come in, and we have specialized in that. And what's very important is to understand that here we go to a professional, we tell them what they want, and they take it as a project that they complete it. In Greece, it's not the job of one professional. It's the job of different professionals. We do not know that, and the professional, the lawyer, will do the lawyer's work. The notary will do the notary's work, the accountants. So coming to one place and one stop where you can retain them, and from here, send their file to Greece, and within one space have all those professionals and services to take care of whatever they're assigned or retained to do, does not exist. We created it.
So in other words, your best friend, you hold their hand and you're like, you need a lawyer? I got you. You need an accountant? I got you. And these are the things that haven't been done. I'll take care of it. So you hold us by your hand and then you make sure that everything gets done the way it's supposed to.
Yes, but it's much more difficult than that.
Absolutely.
Because often enough, when we lose our parents or our grandparents, and we have to deal with the settlement of their estate in Greece, most of the people do not know where even those properties are, where the land parcels, or they have been holding to a will, for example, believing that now that their beloved one passed and they have the will, they are owners, without realizing it, that they had to go through a process of acceptance of inheritance they never did. So it is very difficult. So we have to go through the process of getting their tax ID number or their citizenship or their registration in Greece, doing title searches, locating the properties, and then dealing with also the other family members who are in Greece. It is challenging.
Tasso, μου κάνεις καλή πάσα, as we say in Greek, and I'm going to use my soccer terms because I grew up with a dad who never had a boy, and I was his little boy. So we're going to talk about the wills. As a Canadian lawyer, one of the #1 questions that people ask me is like, I need a will. Can my beneficiaries and estate trustees use a Canadian will in Greece?
Sure. We live here, so chances are that we have a will. And as we get older, because of the laws of Canada, we draft our wills. And as we get older, we even execute or continue powers of attorney in the event of incapacitation, so our children can take care of our affairs here in Canada while we're alive, but we're incapacitated. And after they pass, the will kicks in, and we take care of whatever needs to be taken care of. Now, that's for Canada. Many people of Greek descent have also properties in Greece. So their beneficiaries, those named in the Canadian will, want to deal with the affairs in Greece. That's where I come in. So, is that Canadian will valid in Greece? As such, no. but there is a process by which you can take the Canadian will, recognize it before the Greek courts, and then proceed with the acceptance of inheritance. Here in Canada, you need the will, because if you pass without the will, the state gets involved, the Office of Legal Guardian Trustee, you know very well as a lawyer, and we don't want to deal with that. In Greece, when you pass without the will, nothing happens to your property. It's there for your beneficiaries, and the beneficiaries are named by, they're named, they're determined in accordance to the provisions of Greek law. So if you die in Greece without a will, 2/3 go to your children, 1/3 goes to your spouse. You don't have children, you don't have spouse, then it goes to your siblings, and if they have passed, when there is a will, this will is probably sitting somewhere at the notary's office. You have to go through the process of publication. What happens if you have a will, but it's a Canadian will? Well, it has to be probated here in Canada, and some people say, I didn't have to probate it to deal with my affairs in Canada. However, we want to take this Canadian will and recognize it in Greece. You got to probate it first, give it to an Athens lawyer, take it to the court of first instance, recognize its validity, and then you proceed with the acceptance, or you deal with the Canadian will here, and in Greece, after we have a consultation session, we might have to pursue the acceptance without going through the process of recognizing the Canadian will. It depends.
So essentially every case is a little bit different. It's always advisable to have a Canadian will to deal with property in Greece, in Canada, and then if needed, we'll use that will, and then it will be recognized subject to being probated by the court because it will have an official court stamp, and then based on the UN convention, that has a specific process to be recognized.
So to answer your question, yes, the Canadian will can be useful, but it has to go through a process in order to be recognized in Greece. And there is a common misunderstanding, or people make this mistake. They think that they do a Canadian will for their stuff in Canada, and then they go to Greece or on their own, and they do a Greek will for the stuff in Greece. Please understand, one person, one will. It doesn't mean because you have a dual citizenship or because you have properties and affairs in two countries, you're going to have two different wills. You can have your Canadian will and mention the stuff in Greece, or do not mention the stuff in Greece because it will fall under the residue, the remaining. So even if it doesn't say about the property in the Choryo, still the Canadian will has, after it deals with, you know, whatever it deals with, it will have the remaining. So it includes the stuff in Greece. And if you have more properties in Greece and you wanted to go to a notary, a holograph in Greece, and drafted your will, or you took a piece of paper and you did your holograph, your handwritten will, that's fine. But not two wills. As far as either Canada or Greece is concerned, there is only one will.
And I think that's a good distinction because a lot of people don't realize that. Just because you have two citizenship, it doesn't mean you should have two wills because you're one person at the end of the day. So it's a very good distinction. And I understand that you also manage properties. A lot of people live in Canada and they have their properties in Greece, whether that's in a village or a town, or it could be an ikopedon, just land, and they don't know how to deal with it. Does your office take on the task when it comes to property management?
Yes, unfortunately, I do that too. And when
Why unfortunately?
It's too much work, but I'm happy to do the work. Now, as far as property management is concerned, I have to be very clear. Yes, I help them primarily to put it in their names, to legalize it, to find it. Once in their names, yes, they come back and tell me, thank you very much, now it's in our names. However, we're leasing it, we're renting it. Who will be managing that? Who will pay the utility bills? Who will do our taxes? So let's be clear as to what services I provide. I would love to be able to manage people's affairs in Greece, but I can't because I work across Greece. It's not, my offices are in Athens, but it's all over Greece. So once I help them, I facilitate, and I put the properties in their names, I will change the names on the utility bills. If it's rented, I will do a new lease and put it in the names of the new owners. In the beginning, until I open a bank account for them, I might collect the rent and give them the money here, or use that money from the rent to pay for the bills. But this has an expiry date. At one point, I want them to be able to do it on their own. So I will get their utility bills, e-billing, so they can get their bills via email. I will open a bank account, so the tenant will be putting the rent so they can see it in their apps and do their banking the same way they do it here. I will do the lease, but I cannot at this point, at this stage, be able to chase their tenants or deal with their everyday property management. However, you mentioned land parcels. There was a law this summer that we had to clean our ikopeda, our lots. Yes, I help them finding companies to clean it, but it's too much for us. I can guide you, but it will be very difficult for me to be doing all the work that you are supposed to do on your own.
And I have a final question about you, and this is a question about bureaucracy. And especially Greek bureaucracy, there's a stigma. There's a stigma about delays. I'm like, oh, I have to deal with them. Oh, they're gonna take forever. I'm never gonna get it done. Is that true? Are these delays happening, and how do we minimize them?
Look, every country, every public service has its bureaucracy. And as someone that worked for the public service in the past, you know, we all complain about the service we get. Things have got much better. There are things that you can do online. And it's, you know, if you have the right documentation, required documents, you'll get assistance. It's not fair to say that Greece has so much bureaucracy and nothing's happening and they're lazy. They're not. They're as hard working as any public servant in any country. When you try to do it through your relatives or through your friends, or you happen to be in Greece and in the middle of August and you want to deal whatever you need to do, without having the documentation, without understanding what they're saying, it's difficult. And then you find friends to cut corners, mistakes are made, and so yes, there is bureaucracy, but when it comes to settling your affairs, you're settling the state, doing the administration and the management, if you have the right professionals, people have to realize that there are things that they cannot do on their own. Here, they live here. They have everything in order. They can go online and they can do things. It doesn't mean you can do the same in Greece. So you need an accountant, you need a lawyer, you need a notary, and once you have set everything up, things will be smoother. People should be visiting Greece to enjoy Greece. They should not be visiting the summer to be running around trying to do their business on their own. They won't be able to do it. And they can blame whoever. But at the end of the day, if things have not been done properly by our parents for many years, it cannot be fixed immediately and magically.
That reminds me of the Greek saying, "Πριν πεινάσεις μαγειρεύεις." So you have to set the foundations before it's needed. Otherwise, you're going to encounter delays, no matter whether it's in Canada or in Greece or not. So, Tassimo, I want to thank you so much for joining us.
I want to thank you very much, too. And I just wanted to add before we allow for the program to continue, about the opportunities in Greece for investment, about the opportunities in Greece for purchase of properties, real estate, because we want to have our home either to renovate it or to purchase it to enjoy in the summer, or use it as an investment property. There are a lot of opportunities, and people should be looking into that as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for joining us.